My beloved child, let your heart become still in this moment, for not every moment carries the same weight in the spiritual realm. There are moments that pass like a gentle breeze and fade into memory, but there are also moments placed into your life like a mark from heaven, quiet yet powerful, gentle yet able to change the very direction of the soul. Tonight, I draw near to you not as a passing thought, not as a fragile emotion easily extinguished, nor as a comfort your imagination has created to resist loneliness. I come through my living presence, through my holy breath touching the deepest place within you, the place no one else can see. Yet I have always known clearly, the Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. As Psalm 34:18 declares, therefore, do not think that the nights when your heart is weak are the nights when you are forgotten. Sometimes, it is precisely in the darkness, when every outward sound begins to grow quiet, that you can hear my footsteps drawing near. I know you have passed through many seasons that are not easy to name. There have been days when you had to smile while your heart was filled with questions. There have been nights when you lay still, yet your mind was like a restless sea, wondering why the path you walk is rougher than you once imagined, why the things you tried to hold on to kept slipping from your hands, why your heart still trembles before things that have not yet happened. But my child, do not be quick to conclude that this trembling is a sign of failure. Sometimes, the trembling is only the outer layer of soil cracking open so that the seed I placed inside can rise. Sometimes, the things you cannot control are the very spaces where you learn that I am still sovereign. If everything were always easy, you might mistakenly think that strength comes from yourself. If you had never walked through the dark valley, you would struggle to understand why my light is so precious. As it is written in Psalm 23:4, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Let that word become the breath of tonight, not because the valley disappears immediately, but because I am with you in that very valley. There is a preparation taking place within you that natural eyes cannot easily recognize. The collisions, the delays, the confusion, the times when you feel you are not strong enough, not steady enough, not wise enough. All of these are not necessarily signs that you are being left behind. In my hands, even fragments can become an altar. Even the seasons in which you thought you were breaking apart can become the place where I pour out healing oil. You have prayed many times for me to bring you closer to me. Yet you have not always understood that true closeness is not learned only in peaceful hours. It is also formed when you have no other place to lean except upon me. When old supports begin to shake, you learn that the eternal rock does not move. When the voices of people become chaotic, you realize that my voice does not need to be loud in order to have the power to lead you home. Therefore, tonight, stop looking for me in the noise. I do not need commotion to prove that I exist. I do not need to shake the room with violent signs to make you believe that I am near. Many times, I come like a very gentle breath upon a weary soul, like a soft breeze passing through places once scorched by fear, like a quiet peace your reason cannot explain. Remember the story of Elijah, my servant, who once stood before the power of heavenly fire, yet later became so exhausted that he fled into the wilderness. On Mount Horeb, there was a great wind that tore the mountains, an earthquake, and a fire. But I did not reveal myself in those violent things. After the fire came a gentle whisper, as 1 Kings 19:12 records. And in that voice, I called Elijah out of the dark cave of fear. My beloved, I am calling you in the same way. Not every sacred encounter begins with an explosion. Some encounters begin with a silence so deep that your soul hears itself being touched by me. When my presence draws near, you may not find words to describe it. You may only feel your heart slowing down, your breathing becoming lighter, tears suddenly rising without your understanding why, or a quiet awareness awakening within you that you are not alone. Do not take this lightly. The holiest things often do not enter noisily. They soak in like morning dew upon dry ground, quietly softening the whole field. The room where you are sitting, a place that may seem to contain only walls, objects, light, and silence, can become holy when I am present. Moses stood before the burning bush that was not consumed, and I said to him, "Take off your sandals, for the place where you are standing is holy ground." In Exodus 3:5, do you see? The ground does not become holy because of its outward appearance, but because I am there. In the same way, the place where you are can become an altar if you open your heart to receive me. I do not want you to confuse my presence with a temporary emotion. Emotions can rise and fall like the tide, but I am the one who never changes. Tonight, what I want to give you is not merely a sweet feeling that fades by morning. I want to place within you a lasting awareness that I am real. I am near, and I am still at work. The chaos around you does not confuse me. The changes you do not understand do not cause me to lose authority. The unanswered questions do not weaken my love. Be still, and know that I am God. As Psalm 46:10 declares, that stillness is not emptiness, but a vessel set down so I may fill it with life. Allow yourself to be before me without needing to explain everything. You do not need to pray with long words if your heart has only one sigh left. You do not need to force fervor if the truest thing within you is weariness. Come as you are, for I am not afraid of your weakness. I do not turn away when you still have many things you do not understand. I do not withdraw my love when you are not yet steady enough. I come not to demand that you present a completed life before me, but to touch that life and make it live again. If all you can say is, "Father, here I am," that is enough to open an encounter. If all you can do is sit quietly in tears, I still understand the language of those tears. Then you will realize that my presence does not only change the room, it changes you. The air around you may seem the same to other people, but within your heart, another reality is being opened. The fear that once stood tall like a mountain's shadow will begin to grow smaller before my light. The loneliness that once covered you like night will be pierced by the nearness of the Father. The chaos outside may not immediately become still, but within you, I will build an altar of peace. Jesus said in John 14:27, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives." My peace does not require circumstances to become perfect before it can be present. My peace can sit in the middle of the storm and say, "You are still being kept." Therefore, my beloved, tonight, listen with your whole soul. Do not rush away from quietness. Do not fear the silence. Do not see the darkness around you as proof that I am absent. For there are times when the night sky itself is the background that allows you to see the stars more clearly. I am nearer to you than what you feel, more real than what you can describe, gentler than what you ever dared to hope. The veil between what you see and what you have not yet seen is being stirred. Not to terrify you, but so you may understand that your life does not belong only to this earth. You are covered by a holy reality, upheld by an invisible love that is not an illusion, and called into deep communion with me. Be still in my hands. Let your breath slow down in grace. Let your heart say, "Speak, for I am listening." And when you open your heart in this way, you will know that I have entered your space, not as a distant idea, but as the living Father sitting close to the child he loves, watching over that child through the night until the dawn of restoration rises within their heart. My beloved child, before you knew how to name this world, before your eyes opened to see the first light, I knew you, not as people know you by outward appearance, but in the deepest hidden places of your soul. I knew the seasons when you would smile, the nights when you would weep in silence, the crossroads that would make you uncertain, and even the times when you would think you had gone too far to return. From the beginning, when breath was placed in your chest, your life was never a wandering stream, drifting aimlessly through emptiness. An invisible hand has kept you through the days you did not understand, and loving eyes have watched over you, even in the hours when you thought you were forgotten. As I spoke through the prophet Jeremiah, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you before you were born. I set you apart, Jeremiah 1:5. Let that word touch the deepest part of your heart, because it declares that you were not born by accident, nor do you exist like a leaf, blown meaninglessly by the winds of life. There have been events in your life that made you ask why. Why you met that person at that exact time. Why a door suddenly closed when you thought it would open. Why there were nights when your heart felt heavy, even though nothing outwardly obvious had happened. You tried to explain everything through human reasoning. You told yourself it was only coincidence, only exhaustion, only a crowded mind, only a moment of weakness in a long stretch of days. But my child, not every call from me comes with thunder and lightning in the sky. Many times, I stir you through a very quiet restlessness, through a dream that remains after you wake, through a casual sentence that touches the very place you have hidden, through a sudden tear falling when the room is completely silent. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord in Isaiah 55:8. What you call coincidence may be a sign in my hands. What you consider small may be a bell ringing in the spiritual realm. I do not blame you for having overlooked those reminders. I know you have been tired. I know your heart has often had to brace itself simply to keep walking. And I know your mind has been covered by the noise of the world to the point where it has been difficult to recognize my voice. Sometimes you are afraid that if you stop to listen, you will have to face something too great. Sometimes you fear that this calling will require you to leave the familiar, release something you are holding, or step into a journey for which you do not feel prepared. But my beloved, I do not call you in order to trouble you. I call you to bring you back into the right place of peace. I do not stir your soul to plant fear. I stir you so you may know that heaven is still bending down, that your Father is still speaking, and that your life is still held within a plan wider than what you can see today. In recent days, I allowed 3 calls to touch you, not like 3 sounds heard by physical ears, but like 3 rays of light entering the hidden depths of your heart. The first call came to awaken you from familiarity. It caused you to realize that not every habit you are living in is leading you closer to life. There are things you repeat every day only because you fear change. There are worries you have held for so long that you have begun to think they are part of you. There are concerns that have taken the place of faith in your heart. When that call sounded, your heart felt uneasy, not because I had moved away from you, but because I was gently shaking the door you had locked. Wake up, sleeper, rise from the dead, and Christ will shine on you. Ephesians 5:14. Do you hear? That is not a word of condemnation, but an invitation to step out of old darkness so that new light may touch you. The second call came in the hours when you thought you were most alone. It was not loud, not forceful, but persistent, like a lamp still burning in the night. Perhaps you sensed it when your heart suddenly beat faster in the silence, when an unnamed longing pulled you back toward prayer, when your eyes filled with tears and even you did not understand why. That was when I reminded you that your soul is still sensitive, that deep within you there remains a place that belongs to me and has not been seized by the world. Remember the story of the boy Samuel in the temple. That night, when everyone had lain down to rest, I called his name. At first, Samuel did not understand. He thought Eli, his teacher, was calling him, but the call returned until he learned to answer, "Speak, for your servant is listening." 1 Samuel 3:10. My beloved, spiritual maturity often does not begin with understanding everything, but with no longer running away and answering me with a tender heart, "Father, I am listening." The third call came to prepare you for what is drawing near. Not every movement of heaven is immediately revealed to your eyes. There are seasons when I give advance notice through an inward prompting, so you may reorder your life, purify your intentions, guard your mouth, protect your heart, and return to prayer. You have felt that something is changing, even though you have not yet been able to name it. You have seen that old things no longer satisfy you as they once did. You have begun to recognize that there are places where you can no longer continue to belong, voices you can no longer allow to guide you, and doors you need to close in order to step into the light. Do not fear this change of season. When I shake what can be shaken, it is so that what belongs to me within you may stand firm. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Proverbs 4:23. This is a gentle yet serious reminder, because what I am about to do within you requires a watchful heart. Do not despise the small signs. A gentle breeze can carry the breath of heaven. A quiet pause can become the room where I desire to meet you. A passing dream can leave within you a question that needs to be brought into prayer. A holy uneasiness can be a fence I build to keep you from stepping into harm. I do not want you to become superstitious about everything, but I also do not want you to become hardened toward my guidance. Bring every stirring before me. Test it in the light of the Word. Ask for wisdom, and listen for the fruit of peace. For my sheep hear my voice. I know them, and they follow me. John 10:27. You belong to me, so you can learn to recognize my voice among many other noises. I know there were times when you convinced yourself that what you felt was only exhaustion. You tried to cover the call with work, conversation, and one busy thing after another. But the more you covered it, the more your heart knew that beneath that layer of noise, there remained an invitation waiting to be answered. You do not need to be afraid to acknowledge this. Truth does not come to crush you. Truth comes to set you free. When you dare to say, "Father, I heard, but I avoided it," the door of grace opens. I do not stand before you as a harsh stranger waiting only to rebuke you. I come as a compassionate Father, placing my hand upon your head and saying, "It is not too late for you to listen now, as long as you do not continue closing your heart. Therefore, today, slow down. Turn down the noises that are disturbing your soul. Let your heart become still like a lake before dawn. Do not rush to ask me what the entire journey will look like. Ask what the next step of obedience should be. Do not demand to see the whole sky before you believe. Believe when I place in your hand a ray of light sufficient for today. I saw you from the beginning, and I also see the shore you will reach. No day of your life is lost from my memory. No sigh of yours falls to the ground without my knowing. No tear of yours is taken lightly by heaven. Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. Psalm 119, 105. And I will not let you walk in darkness if you are willing to hold on to that light. My beloved, the three calls have come not to bring you to an end, but to open within you a holier beginning. Stop treating those deep inner stirrings as meaningless. Stop calling the bell of heaven an illusion. Stop burying awakening under cold explanations. I am near, nearer than the breath you have just taken. I am calling you back to your true identity, to the path of light, and to the necessary preparation for a new season. Respond to me with humility. Say, Father, open my ears to hear. Open my eyes to see. Open my heart to obey. And when you say this, you will realize that from beginning to end, I was never silent, only today. Your soul has begun to become quiet enough to hear me more clearly. Sit still in the silence of your soul, and do not rush after the noise outside anymore. For there are moments in life that do not come to be passed over, but to awaken destiny itself. You may think you are only walking through days that look the same, waking, breathing, working, worrying, and closing your eyes when night falls. But I say to you that not every day carries the same weight. There are days when heaven places a mark upon your life. Moments when the visible and invisible realms seem to bend down together to watch a soul standing before a significant choice. Today, you are not called to fear, but to awaken. You are not reminded so you may collapse in trembling, but so you may know that my love is still pursuing you, even when you have ignored my gentle call many times. In recent days, I have allowed reminders to touch you in many different ways. At times, they came like a soft wind in your mind, causing you to suddenly pause in the middle of something very ordinary. At times, they rose within your heart like an unexplainable longing, as though someone were calling your name from behind a veil that mortal eyes cannot see. And then there were moments when that call became stronger, no longer a passing feeling, but like a bell ringing in the hidden chamber of conscience. You felt it. You heard it deep within. You knew it was not entirely meaningless. Yet you tried to reassure yourself, saying perhaps it was only imagination, only emotion, only a vague shadow created by a tired mind. My child, when your heart must use many arguments to deny a warning, it is often a sign that your conscience has already recognized what your mouth has not yet dared to admit. I do not speak these words so you will drown in guilt, but so you will understand the seriousness of mercy when it is sent again and again. In Scripture, I have said, today, if you hear his voice, do not harden your hearts, Hebrews 3:15. Do you hear? The word today is not a distant idea. It is a call placed right at the threshold of your present moment. Grace often begins very gently, like a hand resting softly upon the shoulder. But if you continue walking away, that hand will pull more firmly, not out of anger, but because there is a deep pit ahead. When I allow a reminder to return a second time, a third time, it is not because I lack patience, nor because I want you to be troubled. It is because I am placing more lamps along the road before the darkness grows thicker. Every warning is a candle. Every opportunity is a door. Every awakening is proof that you are still loved. Remember the boy Samuel in the temple, in the quiet night, when the lamp of God had not yet gone out. I called, "Samuel, Samuel." The boy heard the voice, but at first he did not recognize that it was mine. So he ran to the priest, Eli. I called not only once, but many times, until that young servant learned to say, "Speak, for your servant is listening." 1 Samuel 3:10. You see, a call from heaven may come in the night when everything outside is still. But if the human heart has not been taught to listen, it may confuse the holy with the ordinary. I am teaching you as I taught Samuel, do not run from the call. Do not deny what has echoed within your heart, but bow down and answer me with sincerity. When you dare to say, "Father, I am listening," you will no longer be led by fear, but by my wisdom. Perhaps you have been called through 3 signs, 3 touchings, 3 reminders from the hidden depths that you cannot fully explain. You have seen them come close together, like repeated knocks on the door of your soul. You thought that if you pushed them aside, everything would grow quiet. But, my beloved, not every silence is peace. There is the silence of a heart resting in me, but there is also a heavy silence when you have turned off the warning inside. Do not confuse numbness with calm. Do not call delay wisdom. Do not imagine that because the sky has not fallen, you can still play with what I have seriously reminded you about. Whoever remains stiff-necked after many rebukes will suddenly be destroyed without remedy. Proverbs 29:1. That word is not meant to terrify you, but to teach you to value the moment when you can still return. My mercy is like a clear stream flowing through dry land. The thirsty person who knows how to bend down will live. The one who stands right beside the stream but proudly refuses to drink will still wither. You have been brought to that stream not only once. I have opened for you quiet spaces to reflect, moments to change direction, reminders to recognize what has drifted away from the light. There are people who have passed through this life longing for one more opportunity like the one you have today. There are souls who once ignored the call until their hearts were no longer soft enough to respond. But you can still hear. You can still feel a trembling within. You can still stop. And as long as you can still stop, grace is still opening a way before you. Do not think the door of time is something you can hold open forever by your own will. Time is a breath I lend to you, a lamp placed in your hand during a brief night. Each day is a gift, not a possession. James wrote, "What is your life? You are a mist that appears for a little while and then vanishes." James 4:14. You do not need to fear this fragility, but you do need wisdom. The wise person does not wait until the door closes before looking for the key. The wise person hears the call while the door is still open. The wise person does not treat a reminder from heaven as an interruption, but as a sign of watchful love. Therefore, I speak to you with gentleness yet clarity. Do not delay what you know you must bring before me. Do not let another day pass in avoidance. Do not let your heart become accustomed to turning away. Remember the story of Jonah. He sent him to Nineveh, but he chose a ship going in the opposite direction. He thought he could escape the call through geographical distance, thought the ocean could hide a command from heaven. But in the middle of the sea, the storm rose, not to destroy him, but to pull him back to purpose. In the belly of the fish, in the place that seemed like the end, Jonah prayed, and I opened a way out for him. My child, I do not want you to learn through the storm if today you can learn through the whisper. I do not want you to be swallowed by the belly of painful circumstances if you can return while the call is still gentle. Early obedience is always lighter than late awakening after brokenness. So now, let your heart become soft again. Do not argue with the light. Do not stand on the edge of grace, endlessly analyzing the sound of the water while your soul is thirsty. Come to me with complete truth, without dressing up your fear, without hiding your hardness of heart, without calling stubbornness exhaustion. You can say, Father, I heard, but I avoided it. I felt it, but I denied it. Please open my heart so I may respond. Such a prayer is more precious than every beautiful phrase, because I am not looking for perfection in your lips. I am looking for honesty in your heart. The sacrifices of God are a broken spirit, a broken and contrite heart. O God, you will not despise. Psalm 51:17. My beloved, this moment is still a moment of grace. Do not let the enemy turn the warning into despair. I do not call you to pronounce judgment over you. I call you to draw you away from the dangerous edge. I do not allow these signs to sound in your life because I am far away, but because I am very near. Turn your face toward me. and you will see that the path is not lost. Open the ears of your soul, and you will recognize that the call is not the voice of threat, but the voice of the Father searching for you in the evening. The door is open. The light still shines. The river of mercy still flows. Step in, drink, and respond today. For when you choose to return before night falls, I will not only forgive your delay, but I will also turn this very moment of awakening into the beginning of a new journey, where you no longer walk in carelessness, but with bright eyes, a tender heart, and a soul that trembles before my everlasting love.